What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Warriors Ways podcast. We are Warriors Way podcast. This podcast is dedicated to find warriors who find a way in challenging situation or adversity and overcome certain challenges in their lives. Now, my name is Jeff Mugongo. Help me welcome Gordon Newton, the nation's leading timeshare exit expert. Now, Gordon, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me, bud. Appreciate you being on the show.
Man, I appreciate you coming out and just wanting to talk with here on Warriors Ways, because sometimes we go through life, man, and life is not easy. You have to be a warrior to truly, power through life.
Yeah.
Our destination is not here, but while we're here, we got to do what we have to do to be able to just live a true life, the life that we desire, the life that is purposed for us.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, man. I think what you're doing with your show is fantastic, because I think, when you first started talking about the Warrior's Way, and that really resonated with me as far as, find a way. And I love your show concept, because I think the Warrior's Way is something that's taught or coached.
Yeah.
It's not something that, people are just born with. You find people in your life that you learn from, you gain from their experiences and their knowledge. And I think there are people that can really benefit from your show.
I absolutely agree, man. Well, I appreciate you for being out here, man, because what you're going to share with us today, we will use out there. And especially with everything that we go through, like money, life, and just trying to find a way to overcome.
Yeah, challenges every day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every day is a challenge, no matter what you're doing, right? Whether it's, with me and, my business partners doing, helping people out of timeshares, or, finding a way to just get through the daily challenges. So, yeah.
That's right. So the Warrior's Way for you is to power through, to stand up for people, and find a way out of their timeshare, man.
Yeah, well, with us, I talk about it with, my buddies. So I say my buddies, I have business partners that I have known since the sixth grade. So friends from, grade school through high school, and then we all went to separate colleges.
Yeah.
So we're a pretty tight-knit group. But, along the way, the Warrior's Way, which is one of those things that, whenever you talk to me about your podcast, I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. Because, our whole thing is you got to find a way.
That's right.
Because whenever you start, like in our industry, there was no how-to book.
Yeah.
There was no, this is how you have to, get somebody out of a timeshare. We had to come up with the entire process and figure the whole thing out. So find a way has been kind of our mantra. And I think that applies, specifically to the Warrior's Way, because you got to fight like a dog. And, especially in timeshare exit, you're fighting billion-dollar corporations, giants. I say it often, we're fighting giants. And, you have to find a way to do things the right way, because believe me, they'll call you on it if you're not. And, good for them. I think it's just part of the game, right?
Yeah.
Got to play by the rules.
You got to play by the rules. So for those who doesn't know, I'm ignorant on timeshares right now.
Okay.
It's but I want our audience to know, what is timeshare and how do you get out of it?
Sure. Well, timeshare is basically from a 30,000 foot view, it's just shared ownership of vacation rights. So in some states, it's governed by the real estate board, but it's not actually real estate. It's a right to use product, and that's the one thing I would tell everybody is it's a right to use product. That's what you own.
That's what you own.
Yeah. And it can come in the form of a deeded week or points, but at the end of the day, it's a right to use product.
Wow. So people get stuck into that timeshare then, right? Because they get like talk to us about how, because when you work hard your whole life, let's say you work hard your whole life, you start a business, and you finally become successful. You want to travel, you want to own certain properties, you want to, you want to purchase a timeshare. And we forget the ins and outs of those things. And I believe that's where you come in, right?
Yeah. So I think, what we've experienced is we surveyed over 9,000 of our most recent clients. In fact, we've now surveyed over 13,000, but I've published the numbers from 9,000. And honestly, there's not much difference. You hit critical mass, at around 9,000. It's the numbers really kind of stay the same. But, we asked people what their experience was from the timeshare sales process all the way through to how they've tried ending their ownership before even hiring us. And the numbers paint, a pretty clear picture of what they've experienced, to the point where over 97% of the people that we've talked to shared that they either experienced high pressure sales tactics or were misled or flat out lied to whenever they were sold their timeshare. So a lot of these people don't realize what they bought. They think that it has financial value because the timeshare sales representative led them to believe that. Even the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, has come out and said something along the lines of a very direct quote of, even though the timeshare sales representative may have told you your timeshare has financial value, it does not. And so the American Resort Development Association will tell you too, buy because you want to use your timeshare, not for any reasonable resale value or any benefit.
Wow.
And you can see these things in their SEC filings as well too. Now, this is stuff that they don't, the timeshare sales representative is not going to sit down with you and say, now, Jeff, you want to buy a timeshare, it's $24,000 and your maintenance fees are going to be $1,000 a year. Now, mind you, there is no resale value for this. And in fact, we kind of fight to keep the resale value down, because if you do ever want to try and sell your timeshare, you're going to have to compete with us at a serious disadvantage. And by the way, you're buying this, and you fully understand that it has no resale value, not even a tax benefit write-off, no financial benefit at all. It's just purely in the use that you get out of it. Now, if the timeshare sales representative explained that to people when they sit down, I highly doubt they're going to be selling something for $24,000. So, it's not only what they did tell you in the sales presentation, it's what they didn't tell you. And so a lot of people come to us already have been burned before by trying to sell their timeshare, or, they hire a bad exit company or, what have you, because they don't realize what they have.
Wow.
And so there's an education process there that has to happen. And you have to do it in the right way too. I mean, a lot of these people have been damaged. A lot of them are just totally hurt. I mean, there are people, I talked to a guy this morning, he spent $100,000 on his timeshare and he's not going to get any of that money back. So, and he was told that it was, a financial value. Now, contracts in general, no matter who you are, you're agreeing to the written terms. If you go buy a car from the dealership, well, the car salesman told me this thing would do 120 and instead it only, does 98.
Yeah.
It does not matter. You're agreeing to the written terms. So the moment you sign your timeshare contract, it becomes a legally binding document. And if you don't have proof that you were lied to, and this is where a lot of people say, well, my goodness, even the Federal Trade Commission says, they probably lied to you. Well, they probably did, but unless you have a recording of it or written proof, which some of our clients do, and we're able to, get money back for them in those scenarios, but it's tough to do when it's just hearsay.
Yeah.
That person lied to me. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem to solve.
Yeah, it really can be. And part of it really is having the compassion and understanding for the consumer, what they've gone through. And we've been doing this for 19 years. I think you mentioned it to me the other day.
Yeah.
How long have we been doing it? I thought, oh my goodness, I guess you're right. We've been helping people out of timeshare contracts since 2005. So it'll be 20 years here.
20 years in business, helping these individuals gain their money back and helping them getting out of those timeshares. Because like you just said, man, if I spend $100K and knowing that I'm not going to get back, I'm like, what was the point in spending this much money?
Yeah, it can be an emotional thing.
It can.
And I'll say too, you know, getting money back from a timeshare, it is very difficult to do. I don't market that. There are people in our industry that market, hey, come pay us and we'll get your money back.
Guaranteed.
I'm telling you guys, that is so rare. That is just a marketing tactic. And it's one of the things in the timeshare exit industry. There's the timeshare industry and there's the timeshare exit industry. The timeshare industry has more regulation, believe it or not, than the timeshare exit industry. The timeshare exit industry has very little regulation, and you're in danger the day you decide that you want to end your timeshare ownership. I tell people all the time, you're at the greatest risk of getting scammed because you have people promising, we're going to get your money back. We're going to sell your timeshare. Put money into escrow for us, and you know, after we sell the timeshare, there's just so many scams that are associated with timeshare exit. It's crazy. So I've been one that's been calling for reform for the timeshare exit industry because it has very little regulation, very little oversight. So every year, timeshare owners lose millions of dollars by just trying to get out of their timeshare. And I'll share one more stat with you. If you're a timeshare owner and you're trying to get out, if this is your first attempt, you have a 55% chance of failure.
That's a high percentage.
That's why every year timeshare owners lose millions of dollars just trying to get out of their timeshare. Think about that, Jeff. You're a timeshare owner. You've decided you want to get out. You want to get rid of it. You have a 55% chance of failure.
Oh my goodness.
So
that would hurt, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So timeshare owners, you need to be careful, you know? And so that's why I wrote the Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. It actually has the timeshare exit study in there that we've done. And that's where I tell people, look, you can learn from what 9,000 timeshare owners have experienced. You're not alone. You can actually see the numbers from what they experienced from the day they were sold their timeshare to the day they tried to exit. And, you know, we have all of the numbers on, you know, the 55% of people that failed. We know that roughly 64% of them tried going back to the resort. 30 some odd percent tried selling it. They tried giving it away. They've tried donating it. And what's most alarming, over 25% of those people hired a bad exit company. And that's why I say this industry needs regulation. There's more regulation in the timeshare industry.
That's right. Man, so, wow.
Crazy, huh?
Very crazy. It takes me a minute to even process that because, you know, there's no way that you make it, right? Let's say you worked hard. You know, I'm going back to these entrepreneurs, man, these business owners that work hard. Yeah. And when they get to the time where they want to own, some part of a resort or something so they can, you know, or you know, vacation home, that's that's a common thing that happens.
Yeah, and there are, I mean, look, and we get comments from people. So you talk about the people who buy timeshares, right? They're not super. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're professors, they're professionals. It ranges from everything from, you know, landscapers to doctors.
Wow.
Because they will sell to anybody that they can get approved. So we have high-end doctors, lawyers. We even helped out a federal circuit court judge once.
Wow.
There are a lot of lawyers that buy timeshares. Like I said, a federal circuit court judge that we helped out. It's in the sales process, right? You have to understand when you're going into that sales presentation, the game is this. They can tell you anything they want to tell you, but the moment you sign that contract, you're agreeing to the written terms. And so that's the game that is being played. I could sit down and tell you if I'm selling you a timeshare, I'd be like, Jeff, look, man, the Queen of England just bought 10 of these last week. Whoa. And you know what? She just sold them for $100,000 profit. Now I'm giving you a big, you know, crazy example. But they can literally they have what's become commonly known as the license to lie clause.
Wow.
But in reality, I mean that goes for anything that you sign. Whenever you sign a contract, it does become legally binding, and you have a cancellation period of anywhere between 3 to 10 days, depending on what state you live in regards to timeshare contracts. But just understand, no matter who you're talking to, the salesman's job is to get you to sign on the contract, and your job is to understand and read what you're signing. Now, there are things that go along with it, like the high pressure sales tactics, like, hey, if you don't sign today, you're going to lose the bonus or whatever. But that's the danger in the language in the contract that says you understand that no matter what the sales representative may have told you, you're agreeing to the written terms. And so that's what's, they have language in there that absolves the resort of any wrongdoing, and it goes on the sales representative.
Wow.
So, and
so
again,
they just see it and then just backs out and let the sales
they walk you through it, right?
Yeah.
So if you've just spent anywhere between 3 hours and 6 hours with somebody, and they're telling you, like, Jeff, believe me, trust me, they wear you down, right?
So
like, my goodness, I wouldn't lie to you.
Right.
I wouldn't lie to you. Are you calling me a liar, Jeff? Hey, by the way, initial here, this is just agreeing that, basically everything I told you today is the truth, and, you're agreeing to the written terms, but I wouldn't lie to you. Go ahead and initial here. And it happens that quick. You put your pen to paper, you initial, you agree to those terms, and that's what you get.
What advice would you give to the person that just, that's a lot of information on this contract. That's a lot of information on this paper. I don't even have time to read it. Okay. What advice would you give to that person if they're going to purchase that timeshare, man? Because they don't read all that information. They miss a lot of information and they just sign the paper.
I would say, understand this. The moment you sign that contract, you're agreeing to the written terms. You have to disregard everything that sales representative tells you. Yeah. And the language in the contract, and we have language like this, we have examples in the Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. So if you want to see examples of language that's in your contract that you probably didn't read the day you signed it, or you didn't fully understand, or you were just tired, we have those examples in there very clearly, and you can find them in your own contract as well too. We do contract reviews for people as well too, but it clearly states, as well with any contract though, right? I mean, it's not just timeshare contracts. You're agreeing to the written terms, and it's when somebody's explaining it to you, you have to understand that that's a salesman's job. Now, granted, it would be nice if they did a better job of explaining it to you, but even the Federal Trade Commission understands. Look, guys, they may have, there's a lot of people that say they bought their timeshare because they thought it was a financial investment. They thought so because that's what they were told. And so the Federal Trade Commission comes out and says, yeah, even though the timeshare sales representative likely did tell you this, they probably did.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You've signed the contract and you've agreed to the written terms. So now you're dealing with a legally binding contract.
Wow.
And that's where, we come in because, you have to find a way to end it.
Yeah. Well, which leads me to my next question. You are a non-attorney partner at DC Capital, man.
Yeah.
How did you manage to get a non-attorney?
So out of necessity comes invention, right? And you talk about the warrior's way.
Yes, sir.
You have to find a way. And so we were doing Timeshare Exit. We were helping people out since 2005. We started our law firm in 2017, and we started DC Capital Law with the sole intent to help timeshare owners. And we've since grown DC Capital Law into the nation's leading timeshare consumer rights law firm, because that's what we do. That's all we focus on there is timeshare owners and consumer rights and helping them. Now, going back to how in the world we got started with this, somebody told us we couldn't. Right? So, and by the way, this was one of those things where we knew it was just common knowledge. You can't, there's certain things you can and can't do in this world. And one of them was you have to be a lawyer to own a law firm. These were just things that were black and white. And at the time, we even had in-house counsel. And we were outsourcing our legal work to a third-party firm. And at that point, I mean, we had ended it with one of the relationships with a bar complaint, because we're like, this is just, we're paying for services that we're not getting. And our alternative was, what are you going to do? Sue a law firm? Yeah, good luck. That was our, response internally from our lawyers going, look, we're paying for this law firm to do these services and they're not taking care of our clients.
Yeah.
All we were left with was out the money, and we're left with upset clients. And so now we're presented with, find a way, figure it out. And so my business partner, Theo, longtime friend, great friend of mine, Theo Panopoulos, says, Gord, we got to figure out a way to own our own law firm. And I said, yeah, but Theo, we can't. And he says, I bet we can. And I said, Theo, you know what, man? I go, look, bro, this is what we talk about. Find a way. This has always been our thing. Find a way, figure it out. Your back's against the wall. You got nothing but some duct tape, chicken wire, and you got to figure out how to build a satellite. You got to figure it out. There's just no two ways to it.
Wow.
And so we started with our in-house counsel, and he affirmed the positive. Yep, you can't do it.
Yeah.
He said, okay, thanks. I'll get back to you.
Wow.
Scours the internet. It must have been, I don't know, a month later. He comes back, says, Gord, I got it. I said, what, are you kidding me? He goes, yeah, I figured it out. He goes, look, there's
deep down in there, he found that way.
Man, it was in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
It was a little known fact that you could be non-attorney partners in a law firm. And so we reached out to a firm that specialized in setting up non-attorney firms. And they started by telling us, yeah, good luck, pal, you're not going to qualify. It's a very specific, this is rare air at the time. Now, other states since then are getting involved in allowing non-attorney partners in law firms, and Arizona being one of them. But at the time, it was just Washington, D.C. And so we had to go through, background check and a lot of, they did a deep dive on us, and we had to qualify, which we did.
Yeah.
And it had to be a very specific thing. Like, we had to bring value to the firm. And the value that we brought to the firm is our experience in timeshare exit. And timeshare, there is no timeshare law. There is no specialty. Like, you can become specialized in insurance fraud, or specialized in malpractice, medical malpractice. There are things that you can become certified in. Timeshare law isn't one of them. And so we brought a very specific skill set and knowledge that we could share with our law firm and kind of point them in the right direction to say, look, here's what we've learned. Now you go ahead and apply the law to it. So we qualified in that respect. And to Theo's credit, that warrior found a way. And, he came back, and that's what we've done. And since then, I'll tell you, it's a huge differentiating factor for us and our clients, because now we can provide benefits and services to our clients that no other exit company can compete with, because everybody else has to outsource to a third-party law firm, and they're experiencing what we were, 5, 7, 8, 10 years ago, where you're getting watered-down services, you're paying for a lower fee. So now we're actually able to provide each one of our clients with individual legal representation, which is a huge thing. A lot of people don't understand that if either you have legal representation or you don't. And if your timeshare exit company is saying, well, we can work with lawyers, or you can talk to our lawyer, or we have an attorney on staff that's going to help direct everything. Yeah. Understand that whoever that attorney represents, whoever pays that attorney, that is who that lawyer has a legal fiduciary duty to help them do what's in their best interest. Wow. And so if I'm an exit company and I say, talk to my lawyer, understand that you're talking to my lawyer, and he could be giving you, some advice and kind of paint a picture for you, but understand that he's going to do what's best for the exit company. Yeah. It'd be a lot better if that guy just did this and paid this, and we could sweep that under the rug and get him out of there. With us, you're presented with every exit option available, and then you can actually review it with your personal attorney, who has a legal responsibility to help you out. Wow. Not the exit company, not the resort. You're not relying on anybody else. Yeah. I tell people, if you're going through a divorce, you wouldn't go to your wife's lawyer and get legal advice. You just don't do it. Yeah. The other option too is that you have a lot of exit companies that are advising things like non-payment, and they're really walking a thin line there. You never want a non-attorney representing you in a legal matter. I go back to what I said in the very beginning. The moment you signed your contract, it became a legally binding document. And so you want experts and attorneys working in your corner to help you every step of the way. But that attorney, you want representing you, no one else. You don't want that lawyer representing the exit company. You don't want that lawyer representing the resort or anybody else. Yeah. You want somebody that you know has a legal duty to help you do what's in your best interest. I tell people, look, remove blind trust from your timeshare exit equation. Make sure that your lawyer is working with experts, and that's great. But that lawyer has an understanding and experience in timeshare exit, and that lawyer represents you. And that's exactly what we offer our clients.
Wow. That's important, man. Yeah. So you literally created, this to have a team of warriors, quote unquote lawyers, to help fight the battles your clients face with this timeshare.
Yeah, like I said before, we're fighting giants, but there are some resorts that we work with, and they understand that their clients are looking for a third party to help them for whatever reason. They just don't want to work with their resort. Maybe they lost their trust. Maybe they just prefer to work with a third party. And there are resorts that we work with that understand that, and we've been able to gain some fantastic benefits for timeshare consumers. When we're able to work with resorts in that way, there's particular resorts that actually understand the need for this service, for a third party to be able to help the consumer, because the alternative is, it is the Wild West out there. Very little regulation, very little oversight, and these people are left to their own devices. So yeah, there's something to be said for working with the resorts. And there's also something to be said for, protecting the consumer with individual legal representation for, should they need it.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. I love that. I love that you've took, your partner just knew he had to go to you. It's like, it's that bond. There's certain principles that you grow up with. There's certain life, methods you live by. What are those?
So, Theo's a great friend of mine, and he's one of those guys that he's been our class president. We went to school together, right? So he's one of those guys, and I love bragging about him because he's so humble, right?
Wow.
But he's definitely a fantastic guy and a great leader in our organization. But he's been our class president from the time you could have one, from the 6th grade on. But he's a guy that has vision as well too. And so, our senior year in high school, he actually said, look, I don't want to be our class president our senior year. I've gotten to the school that I want to go to. I've done everything I need to do, and I don't want to do it. And I said, everybody, but Theo, you're our class, you're not going to see us out. And he said something very intelligent. And this is when I was like, wow, that's some foresight. So I pulled him aside. I said, buddy, why aren't you? Just curious. Why aren't you going to do it? And he said, honestly, Gord, he goes, the senior class president, that's something that never goes away. And that's something you'll have to organize your class reunion every 5 years until the day you die. And that's not something I'm looking to be tied to. And I thought, wow, that's genius. That's some vision. That's a dude I need to be in business with. Yeah. So since then, look, we've got a common bond there as well too. And we always talk about, the things that you need to have success with. And, I think I was talking with you last time, when you're in business with somebody that you're not looking over your shoulder, you get a good group of people together, and my other business partners too, Chuck and Todd, they're all fantastic. And it's, having the compassion. We always say everything starts with love. You gotta have love. If you're doing everything that you do from a foundation of love, compassion, understanding, forgiveness, all of those things come into play, and all of those things are important. Now, keep in mind, I mean, these are friends of mine from the 6th grade all the way through college and in business together for the last, our business started as a virtual contact center in 2003. So, theoretically, we've been in business for over 20 years. And these relationships are still intact because we talk about those things. You have to have a foundation built on love.
Wow.
And from love, I know it sounds corny, but it's true. And those who understand it, they get it. Mm-hmm. And you put the time in, and you have to. My business partner, Theo, was going over this with his son the other day, and it's just so true. And it's, he was telling his son, guard your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become who you are.
Yeah.
And that's something that, Theo and I have talked about before in business. And when you have that foundation of love, compassion, forgiveness, understanding, those are things that can carry you through business.
Yeah.
And those are things you never have to worry. There are other things to worry about when you're in business. When you're in battle, when the warrior's in battle, and I think I talked about this last time. Yeah. Imagine going into battle with somebody, you're looking over your shoulder going, is this guy going to shoot me in the back?
Yeah.
Is he going to rat me out? Or is he going to tell where are we at? What we're doing? Like, it is a great thing to have when you have that tight-knit relationship with people that you love and care for, and know that they love and care for you.
Wow.
You can accomplish big things then, because you're not worried about the biggest thing of all.
That's right.
Which is, who you're working with and who's in the trenches with you.
My brother, I appreciate you, Gordon. So we're going to take a little quick break here, and we'll come back in just a second. Thank you, guys. Boom.
We're going again whenever you guys are ready.
All right.
And welcome back to Warriors Way Podcast, here with Gordon Newton, guys. So, brothers, to touch upon with what we left off was what I noticed was the leadership, and the leadership had to come with, love, respect, understanding, forgiveness, compassion, and grace.
Yeah.
And that's what you've been living by, even with everywhere you go. That's the code of what you live by.
That's where we've had success.
Yeah.
And, success through failures too.
That's right.
That's what gets us through the dark times.
Wow.
Wow,
it got you through the dark times.
Well, yeah, 20 some odd years of business.
Yeah.
Not every day is, puppy dogs and ice cream, right? I mean, it's, you'll have your arguments. You'll have longtime friends.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me we've never gotten an argument before? No, absolutely. But when you go into that argument knowing that you love this person, that you respect this person, that, and sometimes grace and forgiveness too. Maybe you'll say something where the next day you're like, oh my goodness, I need to ask for forgiveness. And the grace to forgive that person and genuinely mean it, that's really important. Yeah. But,
That's very rare, Gordon. That's very rare to have friends that you come up with first in life. And when you get to a place where, like, your partner call you up and say, hey, we got this. He became your brother, man. He became
absolutely
a brother.
Yeah. My other partners too.
Yeah, your other partners too, which is a rarity in today's society, because, we don't.
I think it takes one person to stand up to start making that change. And again, I realize how corny this sounds, right?
It's not corny at all.
But it takes one person or one warrior to stand up and set the tone.
Wow.
And people buy into that. And it's so important to have a good culture too. And I know it's something we've talked about before as well. And all of those things are rooted for us in faith. Because it's hard to have, compassion, understanding, love, care. That's true. And to stay in business for as long as you have without faith, because there are some dark days, man. There are some days where you're like, dude, the light at the end of the tunnel just got pretty dark.
Wow.
But you have to keep moving. And I think, through those dark days where it just feels like you're crawling through mud, and just, 1 inch at a time. I know you had another buddy of mine on, Brian Yates, who talked about that. And, he's talked to me before too. Like, you're having a tough day, you're going through the mud. Just, he's got that soldier's mentality where 1 inch at a time, keep moving. And sometimes you just have to play that in your head. But
That's right.
Absolutely, man. Faith is a major component.
Brian Yates,
It's
man.
the component.
The
It's everything.
component. Faith, because there's no way we can have love without faith. There's no way we can have, an understanding, a heart to understand without having faith. And,
Completely agree.
And forgiveness. Man, you know how many people live with their traumas because they never forgave, because they never truly let go.
Yeah.
There's so many out there. But once you have that faith and you want to grow in and prosper, you have to embody the faith. And that's how you will gain the love. The love for each other, the love for what you do, and the love for yourself. And that's how you understand yourself as well. Because even though, like you say, you go through the mud.
Yeah.
And especially in business, there's always ups and downs. But the hustle and the battle you fought in the beginning to get out of the beginning stages of starting a business.
Yeah.
You gained resilience for you to be where, you are right now. That's the success.
I think still being in business, right? You look back over the last, 20 plus years being in business, I think you gain resilience of, you'll go through. So I remember when we started our business, we must have been 8 years in business. We're having success. And we think, they tell everybody, look, in the first 5 years of business, if you can get through that, then you're going to have success and everything's going to be great. You're like, great. We got through the first 5 years. Now we're, 3 years after that, we're 8 years in business. We're making some money. Everything's great. And then boom, you get hit in the face. And for us, we had to reinvent everything after 8 years. And we hit a major dark spot. We hit mud, right? Yeah. We were crawling through mud. We almost had to shut down. It was dark days for sure. And it just felt like one of those times where everything's going against you, but again, where you have that foundation of faith, we could still see light at the end of the tunnel. We had to keep going. Yes, sir. But that also ties into what we were talking about before, as far as the importance of getting people to buy into. Yeah. It just can't be the partners of, you have, people are the lifeblood of your organization, right? I mean, that is, you can have all the CRM processes and all the sales processes, which of course we have, and we've invested heavily in, but the people is what really makes the difference. And that's where we've done a really good job of investing in our culture. I've said this before too, because I've lived it. Culture can save an organization when you hit the dark times. Yeah. Culture these days, it's almost become just like a buzzword. But when you realize what your actions and what you put forth, the time you invest in your people, culture just is a result of it. If you go into it going, I'm going to, we're going to really grab culture by the horns and we're going to culture. It's about the leadership and the time that you invest in the individual people. So we had, 8 years in, we hit a brick wall. Where I say culture can save an organization, we were in a position where we could no longer pay the hourly employees that we had at our call center.
Wow.
And imagine call center people. Right? These are hourly people, very important to our organization. These were hourly people. A lot of them were living paycheck to paycheck. We were in the position where I had to actually call everybody up individually and ask them to work commission only. I was asking them to take a chance on us.
Wow.
Because we could no longer afford to pay the hourly. Now, this was years ago, right?
Yeah.
But it was so important, the time that we invested in our culture, because every single person came back and said, yes, I will do that. And these were hourly jobs. Yeah. They had, hourly plus commission, right? But we had to ask them to go full commission. And if we didn't have that culture, if they didn't believe in us, there's no way they would come back. And we got every single person to come back. And that's what saved our company.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say culture saved our company. And I was at a convention, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years ago. And there was a speaker that was, those conventions that you go there, you have business meetings, and to anybody who's ever been to any convention at all, you know what it's like. It's busy, it's hectic. You try and get your meetings in. So-and-so wants to meet with you. You want to meet with them. And there's always something going on at the convention. And there was one thing that I wanted to see at this convention where there was a speaker, and he was going to talk about the importance of culture. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, it's definitely, because I've lived that myself. At this point, we had already come back, and I wanted to see what he had to say because I know how important that is. It was an empty room. It was myself, and I don't know. Honestly, there was 6 or 7 drunk guys there kind of heckling. It was this big room, right? There was like 6 or 7 guys sort of, heckling the speaker a little bit. And I just sat and I thought, man, these people have no idea. Because
they have no idea.
When you do hit that wall, you've got your faith. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to get through this.
Yep.
You have to have that warrior's mindset that we talked about of being positive.
Yeah.
You have to guard your thoughts. You don't let those negative thoughts creep in. You have to find a way to stay positive. You have to find a way to get those victories. And there are days where you will take a step back. There are days where you'll get pushed back 2 steps.
Yeah.
But you understand, as that warrior mindset, you have to take 3 steps forward, and it's just a matter of time. But those people, when they're sitting there laughing about what this guy has to say, and I thought, man, the danger in that, the importance of culture can absolutely save an organization.
Kaboom. And you've embodied that for 20 plus years, man. And you've given
not
back.
alone.
Not alone. and that's why last time we talked, you mentioned it's about we, not I.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's so important to know that we can never accomplish things on our own.
Absolutely.
People call themselves self-made. You're not really self-made. Before you got there, you got a team. No. I mean, unless you won a lottery, but...
Look, there's a lot of truth in that, right?
Right.
It is like, I think you and I were talking, off camera about, AI and the effect that's having on businesses, which by the way, there's some positive things coming from it. It's fantastic. I mean, we use AI and some of the stuff we do now, and it's been very positive. Yeah. But you cannot lose sight of the importance of the individual. That is your team. AI isn't going to be there at the end of the day to be able to talk with you, and you have to figure out a solution. You're going to get those canned responses, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to the importance of the individual people and the team members that you have.
Wow, that is so important, Gordon, because I'm honestly kind of nervous about the future, just a little tiny bit.
Are we all?
Because I believe that AI is going to take over most, not take over, it's presenting like an easier way of operating a business. It's presenting easier way of connecting with, they say easier to connect with your customers, with your consumers or people. Mm-hmm. But I'm nervous that they're going to forget the the foundation of human beings, of how to provide quality products using humanity. And yes, we can give a valuable product through, we've been doing it when we established a business. However, it's a matter of how are they going to maintain that human connection, through human connection with their consumers or people. Yeah. And how you going to keep their culture if you continuously going to use AI to do your work? You lose that culture. Then it becomes just machine. It's like we become a machine or something like that, man, where we just boom, click things.
Yeah.
and just doing things and not truly. What do you think?
Look, man, I'm telling you, because some of that AI stuff too, it really is. It is getting scary where it is involving some human emotion.
Yeah.
And it is getting very skilled at that. I don't want to use the word good.
Yeah.
It's getting very skilled at that. And you're having conversations with AI bots that you don't even know it's an AI bot. And they are able to exude some level of emotion and concern. So they are learning. It is definitely getting to the point where, you could have that full interaction someday, but as human beings, you still, that the love, compassion, understanding is something that a AI bot
Cannot.
it can tell you those things, but the feel and the faith and the emotion and the real connection is something that can never go away.
Wow.
And that's something that you always have to maintain with your team.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: no matter how they're robots automating complete factories right now.
Yeah.
That they're still a team of human beings that still have to maintain and automate that, at least today.
Yeah,
I
which
think.
makes it better. For to have a human behind it, to know that this is the right information. This is quality information that will impact people, that will lead to better.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be input, and like I said, AI is getting crazy to the point where it can really take what you give it and learn on its own. So it's going to continue to get better.
That's right.
But I don't know where that's going to go or where it's going to end up. I know the possibilities are pretty crazy and pretty scary. But for right now in the world that we live in, we're in that situation where a lot of companies are starting to onboard AI in more areas of the company. But right now, the culture still has a major impact. On the day to day.
Yeah. Wow. So it leads me to my last question of today. With Warriors Ways, I like to acknowledge our faith. And knowing that God is really, He gifted us His word, and as we tune into His word, the more faith we gain, the more resilience we gained, the more strength we gained through anything we go through, regardless is business, life, work.
Yeah.
What advice would you? Because last time, I listened to one of the podcasts you did. And somebody asked you what book would you suggest? What book would you suggest to anyone out there? And you said the Bible. And when I heard that, something inside me, man, it kind of lined up a little bit because the Bible has been very close to me. So knowing that you are also a man of God, and you're a warrior in Christ, man. You're a warrior in. I would love to ask you, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs, to young men out there who are lost or who are searching to find their way? What advice would you give to those men?
Yeah, well, I would say, the answers are in that book. It's when you think about it, it's 66 books written by 40 different people at different times throughout the world, and it all ties in. That's when you think about that, that's crazy. And so that's why I tell people, when you think about that book, when somebody says, well, what book? That book sticks out. You got, 66 chapters written by 40 different people at different times, and it all lines up and it all matches up. So
in one chord.
Yeah, it's just so, the answers are in there. Yeah. And when you seek Him, that's when you'll gain peace.
That's right.
And clarity in what you're doing. So that would be, you know, again, I know it sounds corny, but there is real peace in that.
Wow.
If, you know, the bullets are flying, when you're in the battle, you're in the trenches, and you have that foundation of faith, that can absolutely get you through, without, you know, it's stressful.
Yeah.
You know, people have heart attacks these days, and, you know, stress is a major, it's the number one killer.
Number one.
Yeah. And so, you know, when you can have that, add that peace in your life where you can sleep at night when the bullets are flying, knowing that you are loved and knowing that you are here to serve and knowing your position. A lot of kids these days, I hear, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm here for. And when you understand that you're here to serve, and that's one thing that, you know, we as leaders at our organization as well too, we're here to serve our employees. We're here to serve our clients.
That's right.
You know, but at the end of the day, we're here to serve, you know, our Lord and Savior. And so,
Amen
you know,
to that.
understanding where our faith leads us is
important.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Gordon Newton, man. Everybody, thank you. Thank you
Thanks for having me,
for really sharing your knowledge and expertise. And guys, you know, if you are out there, you are an entrepreneur, you are a leader, you are a man of God, do not be afraid and do not be weary, because once you have that faith, you are able to do extraordinary things. Just like our man Gordon Newton, he found a way through adversity and learned how to be that warrior for God and that warrior for the people that, and his purpose on this earth is to serve. And I appreciate you, brother.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man.
I enjoyed our time.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, bud.
Absolutely. And that'll do, guys. Warriors Ways. See you later. Peace.